Hello, everyone, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Ashley Looker. My business is Unique Holistic Happiness, and I support ambitious, incredible, busy human beings step away from that productivity equals worth cycle that we can all get into and start centering their lives more and more around joy. And one of the ways that I support my clients in doing that is through this technique, this incredible technique of journaling. One of the most common questions that I get is, how do I start and sustain an effective journaling practice? So that is what you are going to learn in this video. Quickly, again, I am Ashley Looker. I am an ICF certified empowerment coach. I have been coaching for 11 years now. I have thousands of hours of coaching under my belt. I am a mindfulness teacher. I'm a yoga teacher. And I think the most special thing about what I do is the journaling. I am definitely a journaling expert. I have been journaling for 25 years. I have lots of training and personal experience with journaling. And if we work together, then there will most likely be some journaling involved in our coaching. All right, so quickly, who is this video for? This is a video for the new journaler who is looking to create a journaling practice that feels easy and sustainable. So if you've been feeling a little bit stuck, you don't know where to start, this is definitely a video for you. This video is also for the dabbler, as I call them, people who kind of jump in and out of their journaling practice, but they're now feeling ready to create a consistent journaling habit. And this video is also for anyone who is feeling a little bit blah, a little bit bored, or lost in their journaling practice and just want to kind of revamp things and bring some life back into their journaling practice. So let's dive right on in. This is the most important aspect of creating and sustaining a really powerful journaling practice that also feels really fun. This is the thing that 99% of people also skip, and that is getting clear on your why. So let's talk about that. By the way, getting clear on your why is important with any habit that you are going to create for yourself, whether that's getting up earlier in the morning or going to the gym or moving your body more often or cutting out sugar or whatever habit it is that you want to create. Having a really strong purpose and a really strong why is what is going to keep you coming back to that habit, even when you feel unmotivated, uninspired, you start questioning, why the heck did I even start this habit in the first place? So having a strong why is incredibly important. And that goes for your journaling practice as well. Without a strong why, you will, in fact, lose your way. You're going to forget why you started this in the first place. And you are much more likely to stop that practice or not come back to it after that motivation and the novelty and the newness has worn off. So you need a strong why, a strong reason and purpose to start and create a journaling practice that you love for those days when you're sick, your kids are sick, you are tired, you are just bored with your practice, whatever it is, this is what is going to keep you coming back. And this is what everybody forgets to do. So one of the questions that I highly recommend you ask yourself before you even start a journaling practice is, what result are you hoping to experience? What do you want to get out of journaling? Do you want to feel more connected to your life? Do you want to feel more grateful? Do you want to track your goals? Do you want to understand yourself and your patterns? Why do you want to start a journaling practice? And what is the result that you want to experience? Because that will give you an idea of where to start and also where you're headed. Another thing that you can ask yourself is, what will keep you going when the newness of your habit starts to wear off, right? That day 20 or day 10 for that matter, when you're like, oh, I just don't know what to journal about, or I don't feel like journaling. What will keep you coming back when the newness and the novelty has worn off? Now, let me give you just a few examples to get you started. So, here are a few reasons why I have started different kinds of journaling practices. There's so many ways that you can journal. Quite honestly, there are so many reasons, there are so many whys. So these are just a few to kind of help you get the ball rolling so you can start to hone in why exactly you want to create a journaling practice. So, gratitude journal. This was my reason for starting a gratitude journal. I want to feel more abundant and grateful for all that I have, all that I already have, rather than wanting to, constantly be looking out into the future and focusing on what I don't have. I really, at this point in my life, wanted to acknowledge the goodness and the amazingness that already existed. I'm tired of feeling negative and wrapped up in all the negative spirals. The reason why I started a fulfillment journal is what I called it, kind of like a happiness journal. So I really, at this point in my life, wanted to capture simple yet sometimes mundane moments. There are so many of those in my life, so I can look back at them and see how incredible life really is. We all get in those phases and those months and those years sometimes in our life where we just feel like we're on default mode. We're just kind of going through the motions. And this journal really helped me elevate my life and notice all the simple, incredible things that I was experiencing in my life. It was really awesome. Actually, might need to come back to that one. I, at one point in my life, had what I called a connection journal. And the reason why I started a connection journal was because I wanted to feel more connected, not only to myself, but I wanted to feel connected to my life. I wanted to feel connected to the universe. I really started feeling alone at this point in my life. Here's Winston, who is coming in to say hi for just a moment. Okay, that's enough of that. I was really tired of just feeling alone and separate. I work alone. I am a solopreneur, so I spend a lot of time by myself. And there was a point in my life where I just felt really disconnected. And I wanted to remind myself that, hey, I do have a lot of connections. I want to build a stronger connection to myself, my life, my people, the universe. And also remind myself that I'm part of something bigger. And last but certainly not least, our last example is a goals journal. I love me a goals journal. I am an ambitious type A overachiever, recovering perfectionist. I love tracking things. I will definitely do a video on goals in the future for sure. But I started a goal journal because I wanted to really track my progress and see my progress. That's the thing, is that we don't acknowledge the progress that we've made. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to start a goal tracking journal. And I also wanted to learn my patterns and understand why I get stuck. Oftentimes we have these patterns, we get to day 10 or we get to day 15 or we get to month 3 and it's like shit hits the fan, right? So I wanted to understand what my patterns were, what tended to get in my way so I could get unstuck and really keep going with the goals that I wanted to achieve in my life. So here's a little pro tip that I already kind of alluded to. It is so important with, again, any habit that you create for yourself or that you want to establish in your life, you must acknowledge, validate, and celebrate the progress that you experience. If you don't, if you just overlook it, if you just check the boxes and move on, you're not validating yourself. You're not seeing and becoming conscious and aware of, oh my gosh, like this is actually really working. These are the things that I've experienced in my life. And this is the ways that I've benefited from a journaling practice. So I highly recommend, once a week, at the very least once a month, check in with yourself. Notice, hey, what am I getting out of this practice? If anything at all, right? Whatever goal it is, in this case, journaling. What have I noticed in my life shifting and changing? When you do that, that's going to help inspire you and motivate you to keep going. And it's also just really fun. And that's what we're talking about today too, is having fun with these habits. It has to be fun. More about that in just a moment. All right, so strategy number 2 is managing our perfectionism and our rigidity. Oh my gosh, this was a huge block for me for so long. Here's the thing. We need structure and we need a little bit of certainty when we start a new habit, but we overdo it, right? It's like, I need to journal for 20 minutes at this time every single day, and it just becomes unsustainable. We can't continue doing it with the rigidity and the structure that we have created around this habit. So there has to be some flexibility, right? There has to be a little bit of movement in your habit. And we're going to talk about that next. So have an idea, have a goal, have a path moving forward, create a little bit of certainty, but also have a little flexibility. And also, this is where we need to check in with ourselves about potential fears that are coming up. Perfectionism is masked fear. Perfectionism is just basically fear, right? So we really need to check in with ourselves about where our perfectionism is showing up and how it's showing up. One of the things that tends to happen, and this has happened to me in the past, is I'm like, okay, I am going to, let's say, start a journaling practice. And what I do is I go out and I buy all the pens and I get my washi tapes and I buy, 3 different kinds of journals. I might also get a planner and, I'll get this little notebook and this and that, but I never actually start journaling, right? It's like when you have a goal of wanting to go to the gym. So you go out and you buy all the fancy gear and you get the gym shoes and you never step foot in the gym, right? That is fear. It's like it's masking the actual goal that you're trying to achieve. It's saying, yeah, I'm kind of there. I'm kind of doing this, but I'm not quite committed yet. So explore your excuses. Another thing that tends to come up for many of us, perfectionists, type A humans, when it comes to our journaling practice is, I hate my handwriting, or I don't like my handwriting, or, my journal pages need to be beautiful. They need to be pretty. They need to be appealing. No, they don't. Those are just excuses that are keeping you from getting started, right? So eliminate those standards, eliminate those expectations, and just start. Let it be messy. Let it be really ugly. Skip pages in your journal, write upside down. That's not the point, unless your goal, of course, is to make it beautiful, to make it appealing. Then that's a whole nother video. But really, identify what your excuses are and what expectations you're holding for yourself that is just really keeping you from getting started. Side note, having a strong why will keep you going when you feel that resistance, that rigidity, and that perfectionism coming up. That will help you kind of get over the hump of the stuckness and the perfectionism. This is a really, really important one, especially when we're starting something new. We've got to be realistic with ourselves, with our energy, with who we are, with where we're at in our life. This is so hard for me to say, to be honest, as somebody who is really ambitious, who is driven by achievement, who, loves a good structure, loves a good 100-day project, or I'm going to do this for 30 days or 90 days or 100 days or whatever it is. Do not get too ambitious, especially if you're just beginning. Pull back just a little bit, right? And remember that you can always add more in. If you're I really want to do this every single day for 30 days, tailor that back just a little bit. What if you did your journaling practice 3 to 4 times a week? Right? You can always add on more later after you've reached that 30 days, right? If you're I'm actually capable of a lot more, awesome, right? You've learned that about yourself then. So as much as it pains me to say, do not get too ambitious in the beginning at least, right? Prove it to yourself first that you can, do it 3 days a week, or you can do it every day for 1 minute. And then know that you can always add on when you start to build that confidence up. Here's a really, really important factor that you need to take into consideration when you're building your really fun, really effective journaling practice. And that is, take your energy and your humanness into account. As I've said earlier, life happens, right? We get sick, our kids get sick, we go on vacations, we have, unplanned circumstances come up in our lives that we just simply can't account for. And oftentimes, if we have like a daily habit and we get thrown off, we just use that as an excuse to not come back. We say, oh, see, I knew I couldn't do it. I knew I wouldn't be able to, sustain this practice. Well, you know what? It was not realistic for you from the very beginning. And again, this pains me to say this because it's so powerful to harness that new energy when you start a new habit. But we have to take into account, weeks, months, maybe even years down the line, where that novelty and that newness and that motivation and the inspiration and life starts to happen. We have to take that into account because we really want to feel successful. We want to feel successful with our journaling practice. So make sure you take your energy and your humanness into account. Here is a genius way that you can stay consistent with your journaling practice, and that is create a bookmark habit. I learned this concept from a woman named Sarah Von Bargen. This was years and years ago. She does a lot of work around like creating sustainable habits. And what a bookmark habit is it's basically a placeholder for the kind of OG original habit that you have. So, for example, let's say that you're like, I'm going to start a journaling habit, I'm going to start a journaling practice, and I am going to journal every single day for 5 minutes. But you have a day, right? You have a day where you're just like, I don't want to journal. I don't have any energy. I'm exhausted. Like it's the last thing that I want to do. What is something that you can still do that feels realistic, that can hold the place of the original habit? Can you voice note into your phone, 1 minute of how you are feeling and just like reflect on your day? Can you write down 2 things that you are grateful for that day? What is a smaller, even smaller habit that you can do to placehold the original habit? That is a genius way to keep that momentum going. And then you're proud of yourself too, naturally, because you're keeping with it, but also giving yourself some flexibility for those days when you're like, I ain't got nothing left. And of course, stacking your journaling practice with something that you're already doing is a genius thing to incorporate into your life as well. This is a James Clear strategy. If there's something that you already do, like if you make sure you take a shower every morning. Well, maybe you journal right when you get done out of the shower. If you drink a cup of coffee every day, maybe you can pair your first cup of coffee with your journaling practice. If you do a meditation every night before you go to bed, maybe that's a time when you can incorporate a little bit of journaling reflection into your day, into your structure, into your routines. So stacking those habits is another really, really great thing to do when it comes to creating a journaling practice. Alrighty, so strategy number 4 is to get creative. I love this because here's the thing. The more fun you have with any habit, whether that's a journaling practice or a healthy habit or a career habit that you're trying to establish, the more fun you have, the more likely you are to stick with that habit. right? Think about it. Think about the fun things that you do in your life. You look forward to them, don't you? You don't have to pressure or push yourself into doing those things, do you? You just do them. They're fun. They're easy. You look forward to doing that thing in your life. Get creative. Make your journaling practice something that you can look forward to, that you can anticipate with joy in your life. When we look forward to something and we have fun doing it, you're gonna keep that practice. You're gonna keep that practice. So give yourself permission to also switch it up, right? This is another thing that keeps us stuck and where we stop journaling is we just get bored, right? We get bored. We're like, I'm tired of writing about the same thing, tired of writing at the same time of day and, in the same, worn out journal or whatever the case may be. That's a recipe for letting that habit go and getting stuck, right? So permission to switch it up. If you always journal in the morning, try journaling at night. If you're always at your desk journaling or a certain place in your house, take your journal out into nature. Go journal at a coffee shop. Bring all of your fun markers and washi tapes and have a journaling session at your local coffee shop. Give yourself permission to get creative and switch it up. Okay. Some ideas that I've already mentioned are, washi tapes, bringing in some colors, some markers, some colored pencils, change your environment. Like I said, pair it with coffee or tea. I always look forward to my coffee in the morning. So I'm like, perfect. That's like a perfect recipe for me when it comes to my journaling practice. So get creative, think outside of the box. One thing that you can do with your journal is like do collages, do some watercolors. I mean, the possibilities really are endless. And again, I will definitely be doing a video about that as well. Okay, so our last strategy for creating and sustaining a fun journaling practice is this. Try prompts if you get stuck. One of the things I hear a lot from my clients is, I don't know what to write. I don't know what to write about. I feel like I'm back in like elementary school again, and I'm writing in my Dear Diary, and it just feels awkward and I get stuck and I just don't like it. Totally understandable. A great remedy for that is trying journaling prompts. First of all, if you just Googled journaling prompts, a gazillion journal prompts will come up. Okay. I have tons of resources on my site. I actually have a journaling deck, which I have right here, which I will be doing a video on. There are 84 cards in this deck, all about creating a sustainable journaling practice that will bring you joy. So make sure that if you aren't already, get on my newsletter list. I create workbooks. I send out weekly journaling prompts. So you're never going to get stuck if we're connected on my email list. Another thing that you can do too to kind of break up the monotony of your journaling practice and kind of use a little bit of guidance is to use your favorite tarot deck, right? Pull a card, read the description, and then journal about your reflection on it. That's another really great way to tap into your intuition, to tap into your own guidance, universal guidance, and, switch it up and make it a little bit more fun as well. So last but certainly not least, I have to be honest, okay? If after a few months you're still struggling with journaling, you are running up against all kinds of roadblocks, you're not doing it consistently, you feel like it's kind of clunky, you're not having any fun doing it, do not force it. Do not force it. We're so not forcing anything anymore. Do not pressure yourself. Do not should yourself. Do not shame yourself into sticking with a practice that is just not for you. Again, it pains me to say this because I know for a fact how valuable and incredible and effective journaling can be. And journaling isn't for everyone. So if after a little while you're just not finding your groove, you can definitely reach out to me for some journaling coaching, some one-on-one, or try something different. Give yourself permission. Maybe it's one-on-one coaching. Maybe it's, therapy. Maybe it's getting outside and processing your emotions and your feelings and your life through movement. There's so many ways that you can support yourself. So if it's really not working, reach out to me, reach out to the other journal experts in your community, perhaps, or give yourself permission to try something different. So I just want to say thank you so much for joining me today in learning how to create and sustain a really fun, effective, incredible journaling practice. Let me know what you thought about this video below. Make sure that you are following me, subscribe to this YouTube channel. That would just make my heart go pitter patter. And again, make sure that you are on my newsletter list. I'm going to drop that link below. Make it easy breezy for you. And lastly, please consider if you really want to start a daily journaling practice. I have a year-long journaling membership. It's actually more of a community than anything. And that's what we do inside this incredible space is we journal every single day. We have monthly themes, specially curated for this community, and you will never get stuck in your journal practice again. So definitely check that out. I'm going to drop that link below, and I am so grateful for you for showing up and watching this, and I will see you in the next video.